Okay, let's take a look at one of the early tabs, that's Visual Styles. As it says in the information box, Visual Styles allows you to control the way the track is presented on the screen. The obvious feature here is the color palette that shows the gradients of the route, and I can change to a more vivid palette. The pastel palette, which is the default, I can change those to a standard plain dark green, or I can turn it off entirely. If I turn it off entirely, it makes more obvious the road support pillars that hold up the road. Turn those off and on again. Turn the road itself off, and we're left just with the cloud of GPS points. So we'll put some of those back on. And let's also show you the center line, which we can put down the middle of the road. That can be useful when you're doing fly-throughs. It gives the same color as the gradient line, so you can see the hills coming up on the road in front of you. And we also have the ability to add some terrain, which is a fairly simplistic boxy terrain, but it might be helpful to get an idea of how the land lies, and we can make that slightly better quality. But I'm sorry, there are no trees or goats in this version. These changes take effect in all of the views, although of course in the plan view you don't see much of the side. In the profile view there is one extra feature, which is the elevation exaggeration. That can be useful for emphasizing the slope when you're trying to deal with some editing operations concerned with gradients. And finally, I can turn off the lighting, which makes everything go dark. Okay, that seems a bit silly, but you might actually want to turn the lighting off if you've got a very complicated route, because the lighting puts much higher demands on the graphics chip, and if you're working with a IRL route that has many thousands of points, actually you want to probably turn everything off that you don't really want on. Let's just briefly explain sea level. You can see that the green bottom plane is at the mean sea level of 0 meters. If I turn sea level off, then that plane moves up to I think about 10 meters below the lowest point on the track. And particularly useful if you're in somewhere like Death Valley or the Netherlands, where some of your track would actually be below the sea level and would be very hard to see without the ability to move this up and down. Okay.